Hi everyone, this is Nikki Rowland and today I have a layout to share for Simple Stories. I'm using my favourite collection of the year, Spooky Nights, which is the Halloween collection. I love to scrapbook Halloween and Halloween is literally just around the corner, so I've been having lots of fun playing with this fabulous collection. I just love it. So I've decided to go for a torn paper effect at the top of my layout. It's a design I do all the time. It's my go-to when I'm not quite sure where to start. I think with Simple Stories products, I'm so overwhelmed by how awesome all the papers and embellishments are. I've got so much to choose from that sometimes I don't know what to go for first. So I always want to use as much pattern paper as I can. It tends to be the product that we have the most of. So therefore, and use the least. Funny that, isn't it? So I thought I'd go for some big bold strips at the top. And I've decided to, instead of a white background, to go for a black background because it is a Halloween layout. I quite often this is a bit out of my comfort zone. I do like white backgrounds, but I'm forcing myself lately to use different colours and to use patterns as backgrounds, but sometimes that means my layouts end up looking a bit too busy. But anyway, I'm giving it a go. I'm fully embracing it and seeing what happens. So I started off with this idea with the tags, but didn't like that. Sorry about the lighting on this video. I'm away scrapbooking and I don't have my usual kit with me, so that's why the lighting is not quite right, and it keeps going a bit funny. So sorry about that. I am adding these big strips. Now, I really actually quite liked the way this paper tore, with the really large bit down on the right-hand side and the smaller bit over on the left. It just gives me a natural point to put my photos in that middle section where it breaks. But I did try a few other sections because it was going down on the right-hand side so much. I thought maybe I should try it there. But actually, this is the completely natural point to put the photos, just there. And it's just the way that happened to be, the way the paper tore, and the fact that it gave me that position to put them in. I absolutely adore the tags. In a lot of the Simple Stories collections now, we have a sheet of tags. I absolutely love it. They're so versatile and I use them all the time, and I particularly love using them in designs like this, and I like to have them angled down and filled with ribbons as well. So ribbons tied with bows, I just love it. And then of course I have spooky colours of ribbons, and it's just perfect. So they're going to add those in just a moment. But I've got my photos there. I have mounted them onto orange pattern paper, and I've got everything stuck in place now. I've got my 3 paper layers stuck down. I've worked out where my photos are going to go, which I've mounted, and I've just quickly drawn around the photos roughly to see where they will be. And then I'm just coming in with some Distress Oxides. These are not my inks. I've had to borrow them from someone else because I was away scrapbooking with scrappy friends. Thanks, Wendy. I have just going to add a little bit of colour around those photos where they're going to sit. Now, because it's on black cardstock, the colour doesn't show up that well. So I made sure I went over onto the white background with the spider webs on too, and then with the green on the right hand side and the orange on the left too. I've got purple coming down at the bottom of the photos. I don't know why I bothered, because I end up with the tags there and then you can't see the colours there anyway. But I like the way it shows up on the black. It's not as clear as it is on white, and also it fades as well. So once the ink dries, the colour fades, but it gives a cool effect, and I'm going to add some splatters as well, and the splatters show up really well against the black background too. Okay, so you can see me adding the splatters now with I've literally just put the same colour inks onto a piece of packaging, sprayed some water on them, and then picked up the ink colour with my paintbrush and splattered with my paintbrush. Again, you can see how they initially show up really well and then they fade, but it's a cool effect. I like it. It's fairly subtle. the glow around the photos just gives a small glow around the photos rather than a really intense one. And I do like the look. I like how this turned out. It looks a lot better right now than sorry, not better, but it looks more obvious right now before I put my photos down. And of course, when I put my photos down, I do cover up most of the mixed media. That's what happens with mixed media, isn't it? You do end up covering up most of it. But that's the good thing, because I think it comes into its own once it's partially covered, if that makes sense, so that you end up with a glow as opposed to anything else. Okay, so I'm pulling out some sequins and some ribbons now to see if I can make anything work with the layout. So I definitely want to use the tags, and I really wanted to use the ribbons on the tags. I really love this look of tying ribbon through and then tying it round with a bow with a narrower twine. So that's what I'm planning to do on this one. I have just tied black ribbon through that first tag there, and I'm going to tie around it with some gold baker's twine. So I'm probably right now just rummaging in my stash trying to find it. I know I've got it with me. So I went away on a scrappy holiday for a whole week with some friends, and unfortunately it got cut short because I had to come home because of a family emergency, but all was okay in the end. So unfortunately I lost a few days at the end of the holiday, but had a great 5 days or 4.5 days there while I was there, and got some serious scrapbooking done. So it was really awesome. Great to spend time away with scrapbooky friends, and with no children, as in there were no children there, which was the most amazing thing, obviously, because I have three of those, and they do take up an awful lot of my time. So it was nice to not have that, even though I missed them terribly, of course. Okay, just adding in some green ribbon on the other tag, and snipping those off nicely, and also going to tie that one round with gold baker's twine as well. Now, I don't always do this. If I have 2 tags, I don't always tie through 2 lots of ribbon because it can become a bit overpowering. But because the green one was narrow ribbon, I thought it looked okay. I was happy with that. So I have the 2 tags poking down from my photos, my 2 photos. What I'm doing right now is I'm putting some PVA glue onto the ends of the ribbons and the ends of the baker's twine, and that's going to, once it's dry, that's going to stop them from fraying. So that's going to keep my ribbon and my baker's twine intact, and not have all these frayed edges, which that really frustrates me. So that's definitely a really easy way to get around that problem. Sometimes I end up sticking whatever it is I've put glue on to the page, but I didn't in this case, so always good. Okay, so I'm just arranging my photos and my tags. I'm happy with how things are looking, so I can get those things stuck in place, and get my photos stuck in place as well. I'm going to raise the top edges of those photos on foam pads, but probably not until later on. I've done it now. Sometimes I add it later. The reason for that is because they're going over the edges of the torn papers, and they are also raised on foam pads. So I have lots of different levels going on. I wasn't happy with the position of my tags. I think they kind of moved a bit as I was doing the Distress Oxides and playing around with the ribbons. So I just pulled them out and then rearranged them slightly and got them into a better position. So that's looking good. I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. I've got my 2 photos. I've got my 2 tags. I've got my 3 layers of papers. I've got mixed media and splatters. And now I just need to start on adding all of the fabulous embellishments. I've used loads of this collection already, so I don't have a huge amount of embellishments remaining. I do have quite, that's probably a lie, I do have quite a lot left, I suppose. But it's definitely feeling more limited than initially. I've certainly used most of the alpha, these foam sticker words, but I really love this one. MWHAHAHA. There you go, Jo. When we were away, she said to me, I really want to hear you say that on your video, so that's for you, Jo. I loved that title. I thought it was awesome. So I've put that at the top there. It's a slightly awkward title in the fact that it could do with, on this layout, it could do with being long rather than stacked, but I think it looks okay up there. It didn't look right in the middle of the photos, so I've anchored it over onto the left hand side. Yeah, it looks okay. It's not quite right. It's a little bit clumsy, but I'm going to go with it. And I just love the title. It was a great title. So I really wanted to use it. But it was slightly awkward because of the way my layout was arranged, and the fact that the title was stacked. It could have done with being in a long line. I probably could have cut it apart. But being foam, it was a little bit tricky to do so. And I just didn't want to mess it up. So I stayed with it stacked. And I say I'm now just trying to balance that big stacked title out by creating a cluster at the bottom right that extends up. So then, do you see what I mean? It kind of balances the top left against the bottom right. So it makes a better shape. So initially my layout was going to be kind of focusing on the horizontal line, but now I kind of have a vertical thing going on. It's a bit of a busy layout. I've been saying that a lot lately, that a lot of my layouts lately end up being a lot busier than what I was expecting them to be. I think it's because I have lots of products and I just get excited and want to use all the products. And of course that's what they're for. So, but things tend to look a bit less crazy if there's less products on a layout, but I can't do that at the moment. I'm loving putting everything on it. So yeah. Okay, so I've got my title at the top there. I'm actually having to put foam pads under the top section, and that's because it's going over 2 different levels, and it meant that the title itself was kind of bending backwards. It was curving, if you like, and curving down, so it didn't quite look right. So I had to put some foam pads underneath it, and that sorted that right out. You probably can't see it on the video, but in real life it just didn't quite look right. So at the bottom I have a couple of labels. I have a tombstone and the sign. Love that. Beware, danger, keep out. Over to the right of my photo, I've got a haunted house. I'm now just adding some of the decorative brads, and I've also added some of the foam stars from the sticker sheet. Okay, so I think that's me completely done. That is me done. I'm all finished now. I do like this layout. I love the way that it turned out. I like the fact that it's got loads on it. I love the title. I love the tags. I love the stars. Yeah, great fun. Love Spooky Nights. Yeah, thank you so very much for joining me today. That was Nikki Rowland for Simple Stories.